Oh boy. Uh, Rian Johnson defends character deaths in The Last Jedi. you know, uh, I'm not gonna let this guy continue to trigger me. Maybe I'm just being a fanboy who refuses to see the artistic merits of the decisions he made in The Last Jedi. And if I go back and sit down and really open myself up to what Ryan was trying to accomplish, I mean, maybe it's possible The Last Jedi is actually a good Star Wars movie. I mean, hell, maybe if I really give it a chance, I'll discover it's actually brilliant and as good, if not better, than The Empire Strikes.
Wrong!
How's it going, everybody? This is Phil. This is an article that was put up by MovieWeb, and the author is Trevor Norkey. Alrighty. It says, Trevor writes, The Last Jedi director and legacy assassin Rian Johnson has responded to the complaints about the high body count in his Star Wars disaster movie. At this time, Ryan still hasn't commented on the need for a four-titty space cow milk drinking scene, and not the proper inclusion of Luke mourning the loss of his friend Han Solo. His tweet, this time, was in response to a transcript from the production of the original Star Wars trilogy, where George Lucas revealed that he did not want to kill off any of the characters because George actually understood the concept of a hero's journey, culminating in triumph, and the emotional attachment people imprint on those characters as they experience the journey through the eyes of a relatable protagonist, and in the end want the feeling of satisfaction and elation for having gone through the struggle, trials, and tribulations, and having grown as a result of, finally standing victorious in the end, having truly earned that victory. But that's George Lucas. He's an idealist, I guess. It's no secret that a number of Star Wars fans were furious with what Rian Johnson did with the franchise. Yep, President accounted for, specifically with Luke Skywalker, who was found in hiding at the beginning of the movie, having completely give up on the galaxy, and he also gave up on the Force. He gave up on his sister, given up on his friends, given up on teaching the ways of the Force, given up on his nephew, given up on the rebellion, given up on his beliefs and core values. He gave up on grooming, apparently, and had probably given up on finding a good parking space for his X-wing when he got to the island. They made him a total quitter. Way to go. They were even more furious when Rian Johnson had Luke Skywalker killed off at the end of the movie, bringing a not so exciting conclusion to his story. Why do something truly exciting and impactful that leaves a lasting impression? Let's trick the fans into thinking that they were going to get a lightsaber fight with Luke Skywalker, finally, after 30 years, and in the end have it be another parlor trick and have Luke and his metal arm fade away and leave the audience asking what the F just happened. Did he die? Is he dead? Even though Mark Hamill revealed that he agreed with the decisions made for his character after seeing the movie himself, stop. Come on, read between the lines. Mark was being a good soldier and fulfilling his end of the bargain to help promote the movie. You see him even in interviews saying things fans might not want to hear, but he does it with a wink and subtle sarcasm. Like he's saying, "I get it. I'm not happy with this mess of a movie either, but I have a job to do right now. Hang in there, guys." Mark gets it. I really feel like he's one of us. A number of Star Wars fans have still argued with Johnson's decisions and even misquoted Hamill on a regular basis to try to prove that Johnson did a horrible job. What were the misquotes? I mean, I don't know how much more clear you can get than what Mark says straight up in an interview.
When I read 8, I told Rian, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character. But, other than that, I can't really describe more, but it was as shocking to me to read what Rian had written as I'm sure it will be for the audience.
Let's see here. Earlier this week, Twitter user Synchronic Designer tweeted a transcript of a conversation from the development stages of Star Wars Return of the Jedi between George Lucas and screenwriter Lawrence Kasdan, where Lucas argued that no character should ever have to die in a Star Wars movie, comparing them to fairy tales. He brought up the fact that killing off beloved characters could potentially alienate fans, which is why Lucas didn't want Luke or Leia to die in Return of the Jedi. In fact, he didn't even want Yoda to die. The Twitter used this transcript as an argument for why Rian Johnson's decision to kill off characters like Luke Skywalker, Admiral Akbar, and Supreme Leader Snoke in Star Wars The Last Jedi was a horrible idea. Well, look, killing Admiral Akbar wasn't necessarily a horrible idea. It's the way they killed him off. I mean, his death has no more importance than some random deckhand, or deck officer. He should have assumed control over Leia's coma, after Leia's coma, and should have had the lightspeed sacrifice they gave to Holdo, a character that was completely annoying and nobody gave a shit about. As far as Snoke, that was just a waste of a build-up, and all the debates about who he was and where he came from and how he rose to power and blah blah blah. There was nothing satisfying. There was nothing satisfying about his death, and that's the problem. This whole movie, it's like there was a mandate instituted where nobody was allowed to have a feeling of true satisfaction. I mean, why walk out of a theater feeling you got all your money's worth? I mean, I'm not even going to go deeper into the disaster of killing Luke off. I need a separate video just for that, and I want to get through this article so I can get Rian Johnson off my mind for a little while. So Johnson responded by sharing numerous pictures of characters' deaths in the original trilogy, including Yoda, Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, pointing out the hypocrisy in Lucas's argument. Okay, I have to debunk everything. Yoda's death marks a coming-of-age moment for Luke in Return of the Jedi. Okay, with Yoda now gone, Luke is left basically to carry the torch. And now he's become the lone keeper of the teachings of the Force. It's the next step in the progression of his character's development. His confrontation with his father, Darth Vader, is his last test. All right. As far as Obi-Wan Kenobi, he dies, but still, he makes his return in subsequent films. His death also serves Luke's journey and growth as a hero and helps to further illustrate what it means to become one with the Force, and how powerful it truly is, when death itself is only a doorway to the next realm of existence. As far as these guys over here, Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, they had it coming anyway. Nah, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, their deaths, they push Luke to the brink. Okay, because he initially refuses Obi-Wan's call to adventure. All right, it's the classic hero's journey trope. And then once all is lost, and he sees what the Empire has done to his aunt and his uncle, it gives him the last bit of motivation needed to finally answer the call to adventure and take the next step in his character's natural progression. So every death was important, poignant, and necessary for Luke's hero's journey. Not one of them was cheap or without any subtext or a greater meaning to Luke's development. There's no hypocrisy. This article relates to the original trilogy. Lucas kept the main heroes alive, and the celebration at the end of Return of the Jedi is a feel good moment, and it's a victory lap taken by the surviving heroes in the film, as well as the fans. Why do I have to explain all of this? Speaking of explanations, Johnson went on to explain the reason for his decisions in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, explaining that the deaths and decisions made the movie more personal. Here's what he had to say. And here's our Rian Johnson quote: "For me, The Last Jedi 100% distills what the spirit and heart of Star Wars has been in my life. But yes, it is personal. It's a certain point of view, and it has to be. Originals were personal for George Lucas. That's why they're alive. Star Wars films will truly betray the heart and spirit of the originals if they lose that and become soulless, clean homages. But being alive means being messy, and it means every film won't line up exactly with what every fan is expecting or wants. I'm sorry The Last Jedi didn't line up with your own certain point of view. Really, honestly, I am. May the Force be with you." I don't, let's finish this, and then I'll give my thoughts here. While Rian Johnson's comment may not be enough to get a number of Star Wars fans to forgive him, he does raise some great points. One of the biggest factors that led to a lot of people disliking The Last Jedi was that they expected the movie to go a certain way and answer a few specific questions like Snoke's origin, Rey's parents, why is a lightsaber calling out to Rey, and she's able to hear Obi-Wan's voice. How did Maz Kanata get the lightsaber? What's that story? There's a lot of stuff. Who are the Knights of Ren? Where's Kylo Ren's training that he's supposed to complete? There's a lot of questions, leading to quite a bit of disappointment. I would say so. That movie was a major disappointment when the movie didn't go the way fans expected. No, not go the way expected, just go the way a movie should go. All in all, the decisions made by Rian Johnson were personal, and overall, they arguably did improve the movie as a whole. Well, you're just being silly. Stop. Okay. Now, I'm starting to feel like Rian Johnson is he's starting to get beat down by all this. This guy has been 6 months of relentless fans going after this guy. This almost seems genuine, but he'll troll us again tomorrow. He'll troll the fans. He'll say something else and call them man babies or some other nonsense. Look, here's the problem. And the irony of this. The fans who hated The Last Jedi, they get heat because they didn't give the fans what they wanted. But what the hell is Rian Johnson? Besides a round-headed doofus, he's a fan. He's a director, he's a writer, he's got actual credits, but he's supposedly a fan. So it's okay to suit the desires of one fan as opposed to creating something that would appeal to most of the fans. And that's a problem. Now, does Rian Johnson actually love Star Wars? I'm sure he does. But the thing with art of any kind is that, it connects with people in different ways, and it's open to interpretation. The love Rian Johnson has for Star Wars, it's he's an outlier. And maybe he really loves the original movies, but his ability to take that world and tell a story in it without allowing his personal life experience and views to heavily influence his decision-making process, it's clearly to the detriment of the franchise. The originals were personal to George Lucas because he was the originator, and he created and gave life to this universe, and the characters that inhabit it. He blew wind into the lungs of this franchise and instilled his beliefs and his ideologies, which worked well for the tale that he wanted to tell. He established a tone over the course of those 3 movies, and fans knew that they could expect anything from lighthearted humor, to thrilling acts of heroism, to dark moments of peril and turmoil. But the films, they hit the right marks in story progression, right? Even the prequels, and nothing was just thrown out or done cheaply just to subvert audience expectations. George Lucas's his setups always were paid off. And honestly, whatever Rian has in that big head of his, that moves him to make these types of choices for characters like Luke Skywalker, maybe he should look into a therapist instead of using a beloved franchise as some kind of pseudo therapy, therapeutical way to work through whatever he's holding on to from childhood. Instead of making a movie in a vacuum and effectively driving an intellectual property like Star Wars right into a brick wall. Just because you love something doesn't mean you're suited for it. Look at all those tone-deaf idiots who try out on American Idol. In their mind, they have the voice of an angel, but when they open their mouths, vile, off-key noises pierce through the air. And look, maybe there's a love song in Rian Johnson's heart for Star Wars that he thinks he could sing. But just like those American Idol contestants, he's just too tone deaf to realize that he can't hit the right notes. Look at poor Luke. This is how I feel sometimes when I think about this movie. All right, so that's all I got for now. Guys, feel free to comment down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to hit that like button, and please consider subscribing if you haven't done so yet, or if this is your first time checking out my channel. Until next time, be happy, be safe, be healthy. Have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
She bangs, oh baby, when she moves. I go crazy cause she looks like a flower, but she stings like a bee, like every girl in history. She bangs.